Hello friends, welcome to my program Colonel's Punch. Today is going to be military review of the Russian-Ukraine War 2022. 33 cities have been destroyed by massive bombardment. Over 20,000 troops have been killed on both sides. Near 10,000 civilians have been killed and 4 to 5 million have escaped as refugees. It's a mad world. It's a dirty war. It's hell of a war. The Russian offensive came on 24th Feb 2022. It was after a massive air attack and barrage of artillery. Ukrainian cities and defense line were shaken. The attack was on 4 fronts: north, northeast, east and south. Now let's get on to the northern axis. This thrust line was going to Kyiv, the capital and the military and the political nerve center. It was heavy. The forces were about two combined armies, that is each 2 motorized divisions, an armored brigade. Then they had 2 armored divisions, 2 motorized battalions, engineer elements. Now it was a heavy punch. On 24th Feb, Chernobyl, the nuclear plant, was invested and captured. 40 Ukrainian soldiers were killed. Pripyat, which was next, just about 2 kilometers away, that was also captured, and both became ghost cities. On the Chernihiv axis, because it was built-up area, fierce fight, and the Russians went forward. Then along the Sumy axis, this was the eastern one, all going to Kyiv. Here, the Russians tasted the first, tough city defenses, and they realized that the going for tanks is going to be hard. It was so aggressive fight by the Ukrainians that over 200 armored vehicles were destroyed. That was the first rebuff they got of a built-up area battle, and they realized that the war is going to be difficult. Now when this 3 advances lines moved towards Kyiv, just about 20 to 30 kilometers away, were the first defense lines based on the Pripyat River and Desna River. Now Pripyat and Desna River had become a massive anti-tank defense line. It had man-pad, the famous man-pad, with javelin missiles, Stinger 80, United Kingdom's short anti-tank missiles, and they had the Bakhtiar drones. So they knew exactly what was happening, and they were waiting. When the forces dashed along this line, they got a bloody nose. And because their columns were road-bound, they were not able to go off the road. They became easy targets, and a lot of leading armor, T-20, T-70 and 90 tanks were knocked out. So now the Russians could feel the heat, because by now they have lost over 200 AFVs, at least 50 tanks. Then came the Battle of Ivanki. Here, the Ukrainians were waiting with tanks also. So a massive tank battle developed. And about 200 vehicles were again blown up. Now the trouble with the Russian advance was, which was on all fronts, that because of reorg, it lacked the support of infantry to clear all this man-padness. Now infantry was the queen of the battle, and that was the weakest link. Also, the ground attack aircrafts and armed helicopters of Russia were not able to give very close support because of the air defense. That also man-pad. Stingers were very, very accurate. And this anti-tank missiles, Javelin, out of over 300 shots fired on the first day, they had 200 hits. Also, the snipers took down a very heavy toll. Over 50 leading soldiers or commanders were shot down whenever they got down from the tank. So it was all walked down. Thereafter, at the same time on 24th, 25th, paratroopers, it was an air assault on Antonov and Vasling later airports. Now, Antonov airport, which is very close, about 20 kilometers from Kyiv, was supposed to form the air bridgehead. In the initial stages, 24 helicopters landed. Out of that, 8 were shot down on the parapet river. And those which reached there were in for a surprise, because the mechanized brigade of the Ukrainians were waiting for them. There was a firefight and some 100 more helicopter shortages. And these people came in and there was a fierce fight. Now it was a ding-dong battle to secure this airport, Antonov airport. Finally, the Russians had to call off the massive paradrop that was to take place. And this area, the airport, which was so close and was to be the bridgehead, remained contested till now. On the Sumy front, as I've told you, Sumy was the first battering the Russians got in the built-up area. Kontop. Now, Kontop was quickly overrun. But the real fight became when they crossed the Desna River and went towards Brovary. Now, Brovary, Hostmel and Bucha, these, the Russian forces invested. There was sheer fight and they were not able to go ahead. So about 25 to 30 kilometers from Kyiv, massive skirmishes were going on, and the Ukrainian army was fighting hard. The Russian army, the whole front now had stabilized. This is the time when the Ukrainians put in about 15 counterattacks, and the famous one was at Irpin. Now Irpin was captured, lost, captured, and finally on 25th March it was again cleared. The Russians suffered, and the most famous was near Sumy. Trust on it. Now this battle will go down in history of this war. Here, when the Ukrainians attacked, it was next to Sumy, the Russians fled, leaving their tanks. Those who were caught were hungry and were not wanting to fight. Now, they had reached a limit of exhaustion, the Russians. And another route to Sumy was open. So, the Russians attacked on the main axis, northern. They were stalled. Their air assault attack was also stalled, and at a line of about 20 to 25 kilometers from Kyiv, they came to a standstill. It is here on 25th, 26th, when Putin said that his first round was over, because let's see what happened in the other fronts. Coming now to the northeast front, the Kharkiv front. Kharkiv was the second largest city, the cultural and political center of Ukraine. It had Russian population, but still, for the last 37 days, it has received battering of missiles, artillery, and even the vacuum bomb. But the will of the people has not been broken. On 26, 27, 28 February, the Russians amassed a huge force. It had a Guards armored division. It had 2 combined arms army. One of them was the famous 41st. 1 or 2 motorized battalions. But the Ukrainians were very well prepared. They had the famous 72 Mech Brigade, the 4 Tank Brigade, and the massive territorial army force. Every house had become a bunker. Every street was coughing fire as the massive force of Russian hit from 3 to 4 directions into Kharkiv. The fight was very strong. Over 200 tanks and AFs were knocked out. Over 500 soldiers were killed. Russians got a rebirth. It was a tight slap, because Russia could not imagine that a built-up area, a fight in built-up area, is a different. It requires massive dose of infantry. In retaliation, they destroyed hospitals, industries, workshops, and even the Freedom Square. Imagine 37 days of battering and nothing. They could not touch anything. Well, Kharkiv fought back. They mauled the 41 Army. Two of its top generals, Major General Whitley and Andre, were shot by snipers. Actually, the Russian troops who were new novices in war were being pushed forward by these generals. You see, overall, 8 generals, including a naval officer, has been killed. Over 15 top senior tank commanders and motorized battalion commanders have been shot, some by their own men. It's been a debacle. That is how we say that Kharkiv is the Stalingrad of the Ukraine war 2022. Will of the prevailers, people have prevailed, and the city refuses to back out. It has now started, after 25th March, counterattacking. It's been a very heavy price for the Russians to pay, because over 200 tanks, 500 AFVs, artilleries has been lost. What they have got is 180 regiment of the Ukraine with about 400 prisoners of war. But what they have lost is they have nearly lost the war in Kharkiv. The war is static, and let us see what is happening on the other front. Friends, I've come to the end of part 1 of my presentation. I'll present the part 2 that will cover the southern and eastern fronts of the war. Remember what Mahatma Gandhi ji had said, an eye for an eye will blind the whole world. Yes, the ancient Indian saying, the whole world is my family. Thank you. Jai Hind.